Hello, Global Theater. My name is Gerry Fialka. Today is March 10, 2026. Want to thank Rob Grant and his amazing podcast, I'm Probably Wrong About Everything. Please subscribe. Also want to thank Kathy Garcia for introducing me to today's guest, Ellen Burr. Where are you calling from, Ellen?
I'm calling from the Larchmont area of Los Angeles.
How cool is that? We had a really good time in part one, which was July 8th last year. So it's fun. It was really fun reviewing it. And I got a new question since then.
Okay.
And in the movie, Mel Brooks is the producers. He won the Oscar for best screenplay. If you can believe that, he beat out 2001 in Faces by Cassavetes and Battle of Algiers. Leo Bloom is played by Gene Wilder, based on the Ulysses character of James Joyce. And in the movie, this is a line that Mel must have written. Gene Wilder says, "I want everything I've seen in the movies." What I'd like you to do is fill in the blank. I want everything and then you can continue.
I want everything I don't know about.
Don't know about. I like that. We got into music there at the end of part one. And one part of music that is always intrigued me is silence. So Thelonious Monk said silence is the loudest sound in the universe.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it goes on and on. I've got a slew of quotes about silence. The question before we go into them is, how do you know when not to play? You know, you're an improviser, but you're also a composer. So did you learn how to incorporate space in your notes? How did you learn that? Where is this sense of not playing or silence? How's that played in your role as a musician?
Oh, well, compositionally wise, I think I had to work from being many notes to less notes. And I find that improvisationally, I might play more when I'm insecure. So my silence as far as what I'm playing is when I listen to others, if I feel like they're going on with a melody or a phrase, I'm not going to interrupt it to say something that isn't relevant. So I wait. But then sometimes I have to be careful about that, because if, like my friend Charles Sharp, he loves to play a lot of fast notes, and we have fun kind of sparring back and forth, running like side by side. And so I have to allow myself, when it is time to play a lot of notes, to play a lot of notes.
Yeah. It's a tough call because, I mean, you're up there, you're playing music for a reason, and to not play. So a couple of these quotes, here's Roscoe Mitchell, just any thoughts that just come to your mind. Roscoe said, silence is perfect.
I think of a matte frame on a picture. A picture is so much more substantial when it has the surrounding of silence, or the mat.
Right over your shoulder, there's a mat around that, and there's a frame. There's both. Yeah,
but it's the mat that if the picture was right against the frame, it wouldn't be as powerful.
Yeah, really good. And here's Bob Dylan. Experience teaches that silence terrifies the most.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. Oops, sorry, my bird. That's why I said earlier about, I find that, or I used to find when I was young, or even nowadays, depends who I'm playing with. If I'm insecure, it's harder to play silence.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, one thing you did say is failure is a part of success. What's the difference between failing and insecurity? Is there some similarity between those? What's the crossover, or are they different?
I love your questions. It's how your attitude is towards it. Insecurity is related to shame. I think it's like, if I fail, oh, I'm bad. If I fail, therefore I'm bad. That's being insecure. Failure going towards learning or growing is, oh, that didn't work. What can I make it work? In Japanese, it's really interesting in the language. they don't have, I asked them how, my tutor, I asked her, how do I say I should have done something? And she said, we don't say that. They don't say I should have. They say next time it's better too.
Yeah.
And so that, I think, is the difference of using failure for improvement.
Love it. I have a thing where people go, you should do this, or you gotta do this. I goes, there's no shoulds or gottas.
Yeah.
But there is, we use the words and we like, you should shut the door, like Waymo's. You know, a funny thing I learned, Waymo's, if you leave the door open,
Mm-hmm.
the car can't shut its door. So this person is in the Waymo office watching 6 cars. They're driving 6 cars, kind of. They see a car open, they call an Uber to go close the door.
How funny.
It's giving more people jobs, who knows? But I love that shoulda and gotta. But the next time also reminds me of Dr. Seuss's quote, something like, don't cry that it's not going to happen. Be happy that it did happen. Like, you know, if something happened good and then you go, what didn't happen this time? Well, don't mope over that. Just be happy that it happened good one time, you know?
Yeah. Or maybe if it didn't happen, be happy that whatever the experience was the positive one.
Yeah.
But when you talk about should, I always love, people argue with me about this, but for me, the expression shoulda, woulda, coulda is like a magic fairy.
Yeah.
Like if something didn't happen right, I'm like, shoulda, woulda, coulda. And then it's like, it vanishes from my conscious and from my intent. I love that expression.
Wow. See, now I'm going to Google that later and find out. I go, who first said shoulda, woulda, coulda?
I wondered. Expression.
Okay, here's a couple more silence quotes. I'm curious.
Okay.
A Wee Wee, the Chinese artist. For me, silence is music.
Well, I mean, do you say that after or before John Cage? I mean,
right. All those rich kids learned from Cage, and then he took over.
Right.
I mean, they took over, but well, it's funny because Cage says silence is the sum of all the sounds of the environment.
Kind of like white noise, huh? Or like white. Yeah. Ooh,
right. And even Debussy said music is the space between notes, because I like George Clinton.
Say that too?
Well, that's, if you Google that, they say Debussy said it first.
Okay.
But Miles knew who to quote, you know.
There you go.
And but George Clinton of Parliament Funkadelic says funk is the absence of, you know, and that's like so much music, especially music nowadays, is so laden with too many notes. And it's like, could you give us a sense to breathe between a few notes, please? People don't. My
little guy wants to be in it too.
What's the bird's name?
His name is Midori. It's Japanese.
Midori wants to answer some of these questions.
He does. He does indeed. It's you know, the thing about the funk, and time right now, I can listen to like rave music maybe for a little bit, but it really gets to me because it's so exactly in the space. It's so exactly in time. And to me, what makes funk is that I call it slippery.
Oh yeah, good word.
Know? It's that, and it's silence and waiting, I think, are related, because it's that feel of waiting. Like my favorite Michael Jackson song, I keep forgetting the name, is like dun dun da 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 dun dun dun. You know, it's where he puts that.
Yep.
You know, it would be so much boring if he put it right on the beat, or And so to me, silence and waiting are related.
Really good, because I love this band, Art Ensemble of Chicago, and they did a funk song called Theme to Yo-Yo. I mean, look it up. It is the most amazing song, and Fontella Bass sings it. And they're playing the traditional sounding fatback drumming with the badass bass. So I looped the beginning of it to play with my band once, and we just used it as the backing track. And the bass player, this pro bass player who's playing with us, goes, dude, that he's not playing. He's skipping there a little. They knew that that's like what Billie Holiday did with singing. She was a little before or after the beat, and that's what the really good funk players can do that. And it makes it sound like it's 4/4, so you can still tap your foot to it.
Yeah,
But it's almost like you're slippery. It's like what Captain Beefheart's drummer did, Drumbo. He sound like they said, play like a drunken sailor walking down the street. You know?
Yeah. Because you're trying to, I mean, in acting, when they say, when you play drunk, you don't try and be all over. You try to stay steady. It's like the acting trick to playing drunk is you feel like there's a ball in your head and it's going around and you're trying to stay steady.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Being a drunken sailor, you don't want to be all over the place. You're like, you're so drunk, you're trying to stay steady. And that's what makes a cool beat.
That's one of my wife's favorite jokes is the drunk's running down the street and he's got one foot in the gutter and one foot on the sidewalk. And so he's swaggering and cops pull up to him and go, dude, you're drunk. And he goes, thank God, I thought I was crippled. Okay. One more silence quote. I'm curious. Right. Okay, Thomas Carlyle. Speech is of time. Silence is of eternity.
Well, I mean, that goes back to, I think we brought it up in the first conversation, that I think God is space between, because there's more space in matter than there actually is matter, but our perceptions of the physical world aren't fast enough to see the movement. So we see solid. So that quote makes sense.
Yeah, really cool. Because that's what the McLuhan calls the resonating interval, that space between two things. It's like when they asked McLuhan, will there ever be silence? He said, things don't exist on their own. They only exist in relationship. So, when Cage writes his piece, silence, if you describe it to a normal person, they go, well, that's stupid. It's like, no, because you're going to be hearing the sounds in the room for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. So it's not a silent piece, and you can't hear silence. That's the other thing. If you get stuck, if you get put in one of those whatever it's called, chambers, which Cage asked them to put him in a chamber so he could hear silence. He couldn't, because he heard his blood pumping in his brain, in his heart, central nervous system working. But we can't hear it right now because we have this bigger room around us.
And we're not traffic outside and the bird chirping and whatever else it is. Yeah. That's a cool thing. I love caves. And that's one of my favorite things about caves are when they turn the lights off. I can't wait to go in a cave by myself because they only turn the light off for like 3 seconds. But me being in a cave, it's complete darkness. So your eyes don't adjust. I don't know if you've ever been in a cave, but it's the only place where there's no light. So your eyes don't adjust. And it's got this coolness and this darkness and this quiet that is just, for me, expansive. When I'm in a cave, it just expands. And so I think silence allows us to expand.
Really good point. And my friend is blind since birth, and he's played music for 40 years he's a pianist and his partner's a drummer. And I said to the drummer, I said, what does Mats see? If he's never seen anything, what does he see? Black, white, colors? He goes, I thought the way worded this was important. He said he sees empty. So he can take a bucket of water and put his hand in it and feel the water. Then you pour the water out, and then you can feel there's no water. So that's what he sees as empty. He's heard words like color and black and white, but he doesn't. How could you imagine it if you've never seen it?
Yeah.
If you've never seen black or white or color, how could you imagine? Well, you could. I mean, you can imagine it, but
you don't have any reference. But it goes back to what you said about the two things vibrating.
Yeah.
You can't imagine what you don't have a reference to.
Yeah.
So he might imagine a texture or a smell or a sound when he imagines.
Because my other blind friend from birth, he says, I saw a TV show last night. He didn't see it. He heard it. But he does have people describe to them what's going on. So he, in a way, he sees it in a different way. But we, it's just how we think words work, and they do pretty good, but they don't always work perfect,
Yeah, there was a great film by Wim Wenders, Till the End of the World.
Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
So, I mean, when my car broke down the other week, so I had to take the bus for 10 days, which was kind of cool, actually. But I was watching everybody in their face in the phone, and it so reminded me of that film.
Oh, yeah.
I was watching their own dreams. And when I was a kid, we used to sit under the tree and smoke cigarettes and philosophize. And, one of the questions we asked was, we both point to something and say, that's blue. But does your blue look the same as my blue? Yeah. So that's one of the kid questions that, I don't know.
I like that. So this is time. Frank Zappa said it's unnatural to play in 4/4 time because you don't speak in 4/4 time. So the question is, why is 4/4 time the most commonly used time signature in Western music?
Military marches.
Wow.
You march to 4.
Yeah. Okay. That's I love what you said there, because this is what I've gotten from asking all these great musicians, like who Kathy turned me on. And I just did part 2 with Vinny, and I'm doing part 2 with Brett tomorrow. So besides being intuitive and easy, it might be because it's in sync with marching. That's one thought. Or it might be in sync with walking. Wayne Pete said, well, we have 2 arms and 2 legs.
Yeah, there we go. That's a nice one.
But they say, some people say it's in sync with our heartbeat. What do you think? Is our heartbeat in a time signature?
3/8.
3/8? Wow.
Da-da. Lub dub. Lub dub. Lub dun dun bum bum. Yeah. Yep.
Here is Captain B.
Wait, can I say something more about heartbeat?
Yeah.
Because flute players, we play with vibrato, right? And when I'm teaching young people about using vibrato, I often tell them that I think vibrato is related to excitement. So that when you're slowing down, it's related to your heartbeat. When you're slowing down and relaxing, your heart is slower. And when you get excited, your heart goes faster.
Wow.
So I definitely relate vibrato speed to heart rhythm.
But that's a good teaching. They can really learn it. Excitement, faster. Yeah. Yeah, because I really want you to come and play on June 14th at Beyond Baroque, because we have this flute player, Stewie, and he's great, but he never stops playing. And I goes, we gotta have Ellen and him do a what do you call that? A flute off. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm down. I'm here.
Yeah. And so here's Captain Beefheart.
Okay, go ahead.
He said he called the mama heartbeat, that same old 4/4 rhythm, that it's related to fascism. It's so fixative, so hypnotic, so synthesized, it's dangerous to the heart. It's faster than the heart. Disco is dangerous. He wanted non-hypnotic music to break us out of the canatonic state. Now that's, how can one time signature be better than other? It's all time signatures are just time signatures. But his take on that saying it's fixative and hypnotic. Any thoughts on that?
I disagree with you that it's just a time signature, because the whole thing about a time signature is where you put the stress.
I
So
see.
like 4/4, it's 1 2 3 4 1 2. Like another thing I do with my kids is I have them clap to 4. I mean, you're a musician, so you can do this easy, right? So you clap on 1, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. Then I have them count to 3. 1 2 3 1 2. Then I have them count to 4, but clap on 1 and 3. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3. Then I have them count to 3, but clap on 1 2 3. And everybody they go 1 2 3 1. You know, it takes me a while to go 1 2 3 1 to get that.
Yeah.
So I think time signatures are super important. And like when I write a piece that, okay, two things. Time signatures are important because they tell you where the stress is.
Yeah.
So Mel Powell, his thing was write everything in 2/4 or 4/4 so people can read it easy, because you never have enough rehearsal time. And if you feel the meter change, just put an accent there. Now that's his opinion. But I mean, he's won a Pulitzer Prize, so I'm sure his opinion is better than mine. But my opinion is you want the time signature to change so that it's visual where the downbeat is, where the accent is, what you're going to, because the downbeat is the noun in a sentence. So
the noun in a sentence. Wow.
So I think it's really, I think time signatures are important to, when in written music, to show where your phrase goes to, where it ends, what you're leading to. Yeah.
I misspoke. I didn't mean that time signatures are important. I meant, how can a one-time signature be better than another? Like, it's sort of like, why did 4/4 become so frequent in Western music, and it dominates Western music? Now, some people go, well, it doesn't really, but in general, you said it, military marching, you know, and so that doesn't mean one time signature is better than the other. It's just like, why does one become dominant in you know, it goes to where's the Ravi Shankar said something about this. Here it is. In 56, Ravi Shankar, for better enjoyment of Indian music, Western audiences should forget about harmony and counterpoint and mixed tone colors and relax rather in the rich melody and rhythm.
Okay.
So, you know, he's sort of saying, well, forget about harmony and counterpoint. Well, aren't all those important elements in music? Harmony, counterpoint, melody, and rhythm. Aren't they all important?
Yeah, but I think they're all, I don't want to use the word important, but they're all there. They're all part of it. I think it's like, you know, I relate to art a lot. So as an artist, you can tell if they're more of a, oh gosh, words. I hate when that happens. They're more of a structuralist. That's not the right word. Or a colorist. They're more about the form or versus color. I think in music, it could be more about the rhythm or the harmony.
Yeah.
You know, what does the composer or player relate to more? So, I mean, when he says there's no counterpoint, that's interesting, because all North Indian music that I listen to is a counterpoint of the melody against the drums.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
He didn't say there's no. He's saying Western audiences should forget about the harmony and counterpoint in mixed tone colors, because he's saying don't worry about these elements in Indian music. Just relax and hear the melody and the rhythm.
Okay.
So he was just one person said, oh, he's just trying to convince, sell Indian music to Westerners.
Well, maybe he's just trying to help them understand. I know
more so that's what he's doing. Yeah.
I love playing 20th century music, and I have can I put a personal plug in here?
Please, always.
I have concerts, 3 concerts in April coming up, where I'm playing flute and piano sonatas by Schulhoff, Hindemith, La Suryaga, and Botza.
Yeah.
So the earliest one was written in 1926. You know, they're all kind of mid 20th century. It's my favorite time period. Well, not all, but they all. Okay. But the point is, how do you get people who are used to listening to 4/4 and disco and popular music to listen to, quote, atonal, arrhythmic
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
And so personally, I think that the way you present it before you play it helps people open up their eyes and their understanding. So I think that's when he said that, that's what he was trying to do, open up people's understanding to a different way to listen.
So you're saying you give a few comments and put the piece in context before you play the music. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
That's important. Yeah. Because Thelonious Monk said all musicians are subconsciously mathematicians. Now, in the long run, it's like that's his music to me is the most mathematical in a way. But here's another person, Gottfried Leibniz said he described music as a hidden arithmetic exercise of the soul, which does not know that it is counting. So it's sort of
I
like
that one. I love
I
that.
know, but that's weird because he's sort of like that. The music doesn't know it's counting. I
No,
mean,
the person doesn't know he's counting.
the
Or did
yeah,
they misinterpret that?
right. Music is a hidden arithmetic exercise of the soul, which does. So you're saying which does not. The soul does not know it's counting, or the human does. The
Yeah.
human does not know that it's counting. But
Yeah.
again, sometimes experimental music sounds so random. They'll go, do you even know that you're playing notes? You know, you're just playing random. Oh, like the guy went backstage at Sun Ra concert and he goes, my kid could play that. And Sun Ra said, can he transcribe it?
That's funny. That's
So
funny.
here is Paul Bley. And you know, have you played with Vinny Golia?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vinny, I brought this up a couple of days ago with Vinny, and he goes, I knew Paul Bley, and he worked with Paul Bley, and it was like, wow. This is a funny line that was in the obit when Paul Bley died. I spent many years learning how to play as slow as possible. Then many more years to learn how to play as fast as possible. I've spent many years trying to learn how to play as good as possible. At present, I'm trying to spend as many years learning how to play as bad as possible. Now, he says he was a smart ass, but I love that because you want to unlearn. You don't want to. So here's the last part. My solo piano playing is a question in itself. The question is why, and after why comes what, and after what comes when. So, any thoughts on that? And then I'll ask you the question.
To me, it's why is the emotion, what is what notes you pick, and when is where you put them.
Right. Wow, you did it. Who, what, when, why, and where. Yeah. So my questions usually of the 5W questions, who, what, when, why, or where, in general, what's your most important?
For me, where you put it.
Wow, yours is where 80% of people say why. That's the most important.
Interesting.
Yeah.
See, to me, I mean, maybe I'm, who knows, whatever I am, but where you put it tells, I think you can tell a lot. Referring it to theater, there's this Anne Bogart, not Suzuki, Viewpoints. There's this whole thing in the Viewpoints theater where it's the relationship of the characters on stage and the tension of that can tell you something about the story. Like if two people are looking at each other, gives you a different opinion of what's happening between the two of them than if they're looking away or how far away they are or whatever. And you can do that with notes. Where you put the notes says so much. And for me, the why, I don't like going to museums or and having people tell me this story tells you about blah blah blah, or this picture. I want my art to an art that I see, an art that I make, to make the own individual have their own story and their own purpose. So if I'm pay attention to where I put the note and what tension it builds or releases, then the hearer can come up with their own story. It's not my story. It's not my why. It's their why.
That's Sunrug, and it's not his story. It's my story. Mystery.
Right.
But that's funny because Stan Brakhage, known as a great experimental filmmaker, he would say, don't talk to people. Don't let the work speak on its own. Yeah. Then he would talk about it for 2 hours. Okay. But again, I mean, it is like what you're saying. Sometimes a little nudging kind of prep context before you play a tonal piece to the audience helps. It helps them put in context. But again, I think when you make art or make music, it's no longer yours. It's the user they can do whatever they want with it. If they misinterpret it, that's the nature of art,
Yeah. But I agree. And the thing about having a little something ahead of time is often, for me, telling people how to listen or what to listen for.
Yeah.
Or because it's not why to listen to it.
Not why, yeah.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that most people say why.
Wow.
And in context is so important. That's the main thing McLuhan was saying. The medium is the massages, or the medium is the message, is so misunderstood, but it's still he gets a point a little across, that there's two things: there's form and there's content. Mm-hmm. And so we usually grab for the content more, because he got it from T.S. Eliot, the watchdog of your mind. You go to rob your neighbor's house and the watchdog comes out and you just give him a piece of meat and he runs off, and then you can rob the house. And that's our minds are the watchdog of our mind. We go for the content. And so then mid-career, McLuhan says, nope, it's no longer a medium's message. It's the user is the content. And so the user can do whatever they want with it. So I like when being a filmmaker, when I see a filmmaker talk before their film, I kind of cringe, but it's the social kind of normal thing. You go, I hope you enjoy my film. It's like, don't tell me how to feel about your film. Just, I hope you have some feelings about my film or something.
Better,
But you don't. It's just the norm to say, I hope you like my film. Well, if you come out of the film and you don't like the film, but it affected you, what's more important? It's going to stick with you, and you're going to be talking about it. Or
no, I agree, 100%. Yeah.
So here's L.A. Free Press in 1969 interviewed Frank Zappa, and they said, you mentioned Pauline Oliveros' work with sound above the audible and below, creating a mass, and you liked the idea. And Frank said, not that it created a mass, it created something audible. It produced a some indifference tone which happened to be located within the audible frequency range. By combining something so high you couldn't hear it and something so low you couldn't hear it, it yields something in the middle you could hear. Whether you like that or not, what you heard in the middle is another question. The concept's brilliant. So any thoughts on that some indifference tone, combining something so high and so low in the middle? Yeah.
There's a cool flute duet, Dialogo Angelico. I think it's by Petrassi. But I'm so bad at names. I think it's by him. But Dialogo Angelico is the name of the duet. And there's this whole section that deals with the difference tones. In flute, we can't hear the additive tones. It's too high. But has this whole section with the two flutes are in the top register. And the difference tones it creates is amazing. It's so cool.
Wow. And what about Pauline Olivero's deep listening? Because you've stressed listening so much. Have you ever explored that or know about her?
I know about her, and I've met her a couple times, and kind of played in a something she did or whatever. But I know her and I respect her. I never connected with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw her play accordion in a parking structure in Santa Monica. You
Oh
know, when
yeah,
the experimental, you know, we really do have an amazing experimental music scene in LA.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you know, I think Jeff is the one who turned me on to you. Or no, you know Jeff Schwartz, you play with him, right?
I do. It's Kathy. Kathy who turned me on to you, and I turned you on to Jeff.
Oh, and you turned me on to Jeff, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went. She's playing in a parking structure on her accordion, and I went up to her and told her all about that, about Frank mentioning that, and she sort of poo-pooed it. But anyways, I think what she's doing is important. You know, accentuating how we can listen deeply. So that's cool.
Yeah.
So I spoke with Michael Apted about 45 years ago at Vidiots, and I said, why do rock video editors feel so obliged to edit fast? Wait a minute, I left out the alchemy question. So that to me, let me skip the Michael Apted, and I'll get back to that in a second. Okay.
Right.
The thing about that, you mentioned alchemy in one of your interviews.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to tell me what this means to you, because it's similar to what Frank's saying, some so high and so low that it creates something in the middle. And what I understand as tertium quid in alchemy is you take two known things and you put them together and you come up with a third unknown thing. So it's sort of like you have a discovery.
Mm-hmm.
So my examples are like Frank Zappa took rock and theater, put them together, and kind of invented theatrical rock. Mm-hmm. And then Preston Sturges, great American filmmaker, kind of put writer, director, and screwball comedy together and kind of invented a new type of screwball comedy. Mm-hmm. But the beauty of both of those artists is then they made fun of their own new invention. Mm-hmm. And it's not that alchemy is that they are trying to be alchemists and come up with the third new thing. They're just being artists and they discover some sort of newness. So what is your interest in using that word alchemy, and what does that mean to you? Is that part of alchemy, that tertium quid?
No, but I like that. I think it's just the idea of trying to turn something into gold. And the idea, you know, alchemy was the original pharmacy, you know, pharmaceuticals. So it's the science. To me, alchemy is kind of the combination of science and spirituality, because it's got that metaphysical idea of the hierarchy and the I'm seeing it in my mind, the picture of the tree with the queen and king on either side and stuff. It's the hierarchy of shoot, what's it called when you have when like the witch, the crone, the king, the queen, archetype, yes.
Yeah.
So it's the hierarchy of archetypes with the physicality of taking the fire and the coal and trying to infuse that to become gold.
Really cool. That's really cool, because McLuhan wrote a book called From Cliche to Archetype. So that's what we do. We usually take cliches and then all of a sudden they're an archetype. And that's the sort of and you have ESP because you anticipated the next question, but just finishing the Michael Apted. So 45 years ago, I asked Michael Apted, Why do rock video editors feel so obliged to edit fast? Most people don't know Abel Gance invented rapid montage in 1922, but it flourished in 1980 with MTV. And to the point where Marty Scorsese said, I cut my films faster because of MTV. So Michael Apted said, because we've learned to take in information faster. So I asked this question with a bias. Can we literally learn to take in information faster, or are we just brainwashed to believe we can?
Interesting. My first thought is that because so much information is coming at us, we almost have to.
We have to, yeah.
But my favorite film is The Story of Three Loves. And it's the 1950s film. It's beautiful. I think you can rent it on Amazon now.
Okay.
But I had a Valentine's party and I had people come over and watch it. And they were all bored. Because it was, especially like with the dancing, it was like at least 3 minutes of one shot.
Yeah.
It didn't move. And for it was interesting to me because it's still my favorite film, and I think it's the slowness of it which kind of relates to silence, which for me brings me into the film. But for a lot of my friends, they were waiting for the quick edits, for the look at the face, look at the eyes, look at the I wonder too now about having to see everything on our cell phones, such a small screen, if that's why we have the quick edits between the eyes, and because there's not much space to view anymore. We're not looking at it on a big screen.
Yeah. But was the age of most of the people at the party our age, or were they younger or older? Or varied?
It varied from maybe 30s, mid 30s to late 70s. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to see the film.
But good. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. Don't tell me.
I come from school. I come from the school of, we like movies that they're called make you feel good movies. All the old movies made you feel good. It wasn't like, oh my God, I have to cover my eyes during these horrible violent scenes.
Yeah. And
but
and the structure of it's really amazing too. I mean, I've watched it so many times. The structure of it, So when you watch it, give me a call, and off camera we'll talk about The Story of Three Loves.
Beautiful.
Okay.
The real hidden question, though, Ellen, is it literally possible to multitask?
Meaning at the same time? No. you might but that reminds me of what Cage had us do. I think I might have mentioned before, when I was at Wichita State, the art, English, and music school pulled all of our funds together so we could hire Cage for a week.
Wow.
In Kansas.
How cool is that?
It was so cool. So it was like 1977, I think. I was with David. So it was 1976.
Okay.
All right. So there were many stories I can tell you about John Cage stories, but the one that's related to this is he gave us an exercise, which is pick something to listen to.
Yeah.
So let's say it's the traffic. Then you might pick, I'm at my house, so I have my bird. So he said, when the traffic isn't happening, don't stop listening to the traffic. It's just the silence in the traffic line. So that way you get used to hearing multiple lines at the same time.
Yeah.
Because what we usually do is go between, it's traffic or it's bird. And I think the same thing with tasks. We tend to go between tasks. So I don't think we can multitask, but I think we can learn to hear lines in harmony simultaneously.
Yeah. Yeah, because people say, hey, you walk down the street and you breathe at the same time. That's kind of right. We're multitasking. But like this one woman, when I was interviewing her, you can tell when they're doing they're checking their email or looking at the screen. You can see their eyes. And I said, is it literally possible to multitask? He goes, yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm checking my email. At least you could admit it in front of me. It was evident she was.
Yeah.
So what's the difference? You brought up science. What's the difference between science and art? Is there a difference?
I think science works with fact and art works with feeling.
Yeah.
Or opinion. That's my
good, because here's a couple quotes to go deeper into that. Jean Cocteau. Art is science made clear. Chomsky says we learn more about ourselves from literature than from science.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, because science is trying to explain and codify and put things into boxes and organize it and define it, where we are not defined. If we try and, well, I mean, maybe now I'm just backtracking, because I mean, what about all those personality tests?
Yeah.
We're always trying to define ourselves, to explain ourselves. Even gets back to archetypes, right? What archetype are you? What horoscope are you? What IFPT are you? I forget what that's called, but literature. I'm reading this great book right now. It's called Monstrilio. It's for a book club I'm in. And what I'm really liking about this book, and this is back to why literature, I think we learn more about us, because the characters have their own opinions, their own way of relating to the world, and seeing how I connect with the characters and what aspect that they're going for that I connect with tells me about myself. Yeah.
Because McLuhan talked about James Joyce, and he said he solved numerous problems which science has not yet formulated as problems. And that, it reminded me of Tony Conrad, who said artists break rules before they're even made.
I like that one. I like that much better than you have to learn the rules before you can break them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
that.
then Albert Einstein said the most beautiful thing we can experience is the mysterious. It's the source of all true art and science.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think the motive of the cave artist was, or the cave musicians?
Oh, let's go to the next question, because I think what I would just say would be what I've been told.
Yeah, well, it's very interesting. It's very interesting what I get there, because there's so many cliche answers because it's been researched a lot, and that's what we have. Like what I've been told. That's an amazing way to say it. But one of my favorite answers was to keep people in the cave.
Yeah, interesting, huh? Yeah, and it's all speculation.
Yeah.
I mean, we get to your 5 W's again.
Yeah.
We can see what was written and where it was written, but we don't know why.
Right.
That's just a speculation.
Yeah. And it's funny, even people who commit suicide, if they leave a suicide note, that might not really be the reason why they committed suicide. We can never know what it's called causality. Causality is the biggest thing McLuhan studied. It's like, yeah, we think we can figure out what the cause is, and we can get closer to it, because science, one guy said science discovers facts that can be interpreted 1,000 different ways. So we can, you go, okay, this is the fact, and then, well, how are you going to interpret that fact?
Yeah, I have a bumper sticker that says you are entitled to your own opinions, but not your own facts.
Yeah, I know, you told me that. I love that. Entitled to own
opinion,
own opinions,
but not your own facts.
but not your own facts. Yeah.
And I think that's what is so interesting in our world right now
Yeah.
is if you know facts were presented as this is the fact, and then if people owned that's how I interpret it, I think it would be much clearer than name calling or saying, this is not a fact or it's fake news or stuff.
Yeah.
Let's try and get to what's real.
Yeah. Yeah. Name calling doesn't work, in my opinion. And, you know, fake news changed. It used to be, Harry Shearer, fake news was a comedy. We
Right.
grew up, that was the week that was in Mad Magazine. That stuff was fake news in a way.
The Onion.
The Onion. And then eventually,
Yeah.
what happens is then it becomes, oh my God, this is lies, and they're pushing it as truth. And so what should it happen? Sharpen your critical thinking skills.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware, like try to be able to learn how to suss out real from the fake.
I wonder if they teach that in school anymore. Because being brought up when that was the whole thing.
Critical thinking.
Yeah. Learning how to question authority didn't mean be a rebel as much as it meant question who's telling you what and what their bias is and where they come from. And, it takes, I love your questions, Gerry, because it gets us back to the thinking faster. We're given so much information now that we don't have the time or maybe the mental space and it comes back to space. Do we have the space and the silence to have our own mixing up and untangling of what we're being told?
Yeah.
So
funny.
There it is again. Space and silence are so important.
Yeah, that's funny you said that, because my new essay I just wrote is called Safe Space is the Place. So it's a takeoff on Sun Ra, Space is the Place, but I put the word safe in front of it. And it was really fun exploring that. Okay, now, Ellen, what's more important, conviction or compromise?
Okay. You can't have a true compromise unless you have a conviction.
Yeah.
For example, if two people are trying to have a compromise, okay, let's say this is what A thinks and this is what B thinks, but B isn't committed, so they start there. Your compromise is going to be more towards A. It's not a real compromise. So you have to have the strength and the courage to say what you really want, believe, and think to come to the true compromise. And I think when you have the conviction of your beliefs, you will find out that the necessity and the needs and the desires are maybe what is similar, and the process of getting those met will be the compromise.
Beautiful. You're articulate and concise. I'm learning a lot. I really appreciate this, Ellen, and it's so fun. That's the good part. We have fun doing it.
I know, huh? Yeah.
It's so. How do you rate these three elements in your accomplishments? Luck, skill, and ambition. What's the top, second, and third?
And what am I relating it to? My what?
Accomplishments. Just in general. I mean, you've done a lot. You write screenplays, play flute, teach people, make jewelry, just your general creative Ellenness. How do you
and I can only pick from those three?
No. See, you're answering a question with a question. When I give those three, I'll tell you the history of the question now. Because when I give those three, someone goes, I'm not going to pick from those. It could be necessity, persistence, destiny, purpose. But this was, these are my two oldest questions. More important, conviction or compromise. And the question really was, is ambition based more on fear or joy? They're both from Christine McKenna. You might know her. I mean, she asked all the great people, Herzog and Beefheart and David Lynch, all these questions. in the LA Weekly years ago, and that's what sort of got me going. And then I got to interview her a couple times with her own questions. So her question was, is ambition based more on fear or joy? Now, most people would go fear. And I was like, well, it's like when you give a binary, then they can just chalk it off and go fear and then next question, or they don't really want to elaborate. But when I did this change in the wording is because I heard Friedkin, the guy who directed Exorcist, he says, in Hollywood, skill and luck have nothing to do with it. It's all ambition. So that's where I picked those three. So of course you could go off. What's the kind of dominant elements for your accomplishments of any of those, or any one you want to make up or articulate? Yeah.
It's so funny that you say accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because I guess my insecurity would show through if I say that I don't feel like I've had accomplishments because I haven't had enough ambition. I kind of figure out how I can pay the rent and have a little extra money to do something fun, like go out to dinner or travel, and not be stressed out by having to be under some authoritative pressure.
9-to-5 job. You didn't want to,
yeah. So,
but that's the beauty of these. It's me and you versus the wording on the question. What word would be better? How do you rate these three elements in your life's mission, your life's calling? Because see, I say accomplishments kind of because I'm trying to let the interviewee know that we're talking about them and what they've done in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I welcome changing the word accomplishments, but what would be the word I should put there, or what would you recommend?
Activity.
Yeah, in your activities.
Outputs.
Yeah.
Projects.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's good.
I think.
But what if you didn't want to rate luck, skill, and ambition? What's one word you were going to say does linger in the background and your activities?
What is it? I say curiosity.
Well, that's good. I like that. Okay, T.S. Eliot said, poetry's outing your inner dialogue. What language is your inner dialogue in?
Oh, what language is my inner dialogue? Depends who's talking. Is it the critic or the creative? The critic definitely uses words. The creative uses images.
Oh, that is good. Two of my film heroes have this mantra. George Manupilli said, ignore yourself. Jonas Mika says, there is no self-expression. And Cecil Taylor says, I'm just a vehicle and this stuff just comes through me.
Oh, boy.
Is art making more self-expression or more your vehicle for whatever technologies, cultures, and environments are dominant?
Oh, I'm sorry. Ask that again, because I was hung up on the Cecil Taylor thing. But
yeah. Is it now? And this isn't for you. Yeah. Your observations of artists in general.
Okay.
Are artists more self-expression, or they? I know it's both. It's a stupid question, really. I know it's both. Are artists a little more self-expression or a little more vehicles for whatever's dominant in the world, their environment?
Well, I think if you want to have your art be a business, you have to be concerned with what is dominant in the world.
Yeah.
But you have to be on the edge of it. It goes back to that question about conviction.
Yeah.
You have to have conviction with what you're doing and learn how to puzzle it into what is happening in the world
Yeah.
so that you can talk about it to people. Oh, your questions always have this circular wonderfulness.
Thank
So,
you.
so that you can talk about it to people so that they will want to buy you. They're not buying the art, but you have to have the art be something that they can relate to, whether it's sonically or visually.
That is really, they're buying you, not your art. Could I buy you, not your
Yeah. Yeah.
art? That's good. Can art making be egoless?
Can art making be egoless? Well, just from my point of view, when I get my ego involved and I want, okay, uh, and two stories, okay, I want to tell you both. When I get my ego involved and I want to do something and I'm stuck on it, I get stuck because I make it want, I try and force it to be what I want. If I start working on a story or a piece of jewelry or an improv or a composition, whatever I'm working on, if I start it and let it take me,
Yeah.
then it is so much better.
Yeah.
Speaking of the ego, that's one story. Okay, the second story. This summer, we're going to shoot the third short in my
Great.
series, Sue in the City. I wrote the story, and my production partner, we it was busy life. We didn't have time to meet, so she rewrote it. She met with the editor, and she rewrote it. Well, I was totally miffed because what we've done before is we would meet together and we would talk about what needed to be changed or what they thought should happen, and then I would rewrite it because I was the writer. Well, my
Right.
ego was so bent out of shape. It took me 10 months before
Wow.
I could really look at that script again and really see what she put in it that was positive, that actually made it a much better script. So I could rework it and rewrite it and include some of her things and some of mine. So the ego is not synonymous with conviction. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think ego is detrimental.
That was great story because you're saying she didn't rewrite it and says that's it, finalized. She rewrote it and then gave it to you, and you had the final rewrite.
Well, we were going to meet in a week or
Right.
so,
Yeah.
but she had given to me as if it was final. Her
Yeah.
name was on it.
Oh, I see. She.
Everything.
Yeah.
Just because I think the program she used put her name on it, but still,
Yeah.
it threw me for a loop. And
Oh
that
yeah.
was all ego. That was all ego.
Yeah. My editor did that once, or he edited the film, or he'd edit a part, and I'd go, I would never do it that way, but leave it. That's what I just said, leave it, because I want to move the project forward and keep going, and you can linger on this stuff sometimes. Now, in some worlds, rewrite is so important. In some worlds, first thought, best thought, or whatever. There's a lot going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is perception reality?
You get your fact versus opinion.
Yeah.
Uh, to me, if you can touch it, see it, smell it, wear it, step on it, it's fact. That's reality. Perception is how you view it. Does this look good? Does it smell nice? Do I call this soft or squishy? Do I call the floor hard, or you know what I mean? I think yeah. Yeah.
Tell me one major element of your Ellenness, all the creative things you do, that's stayed the same, and one major element that's changed in the years you've been doing it.
Oh, wow. I like that question. Well, one thing that stayed the same is I've always had a bird in the house, but
That's
I don't know if that
how long? How old do bird? How many years do the birds usually live?
If they're good, they live like 11. If
11 years.
they're little
Wow.
parakeets. If they're bad, and like only 5. Yeah.
Wow.
And I usually don't make it more than a year between birds when they pass. I keep saying I'm never going to have a bird. I get rid of everything, and then a year later, it's like, oh, I can't stand it.
Oh,
I've been a flute player since I was 10, and I've always written stories, and I've always drawn since I was 5, as long as I can remember, and put on plays. What stayed the same and what's changed? I don't know. I think I need more silence to ponder that. So I'm not
no,
going to take up silence on this. Yeah.
no
So
worries.
that down. Good question.
Moshe Feldenkrais works with healing and movement. He says it's literally possible to identify a weakness and incorporate it to become a strength, rather than we're normally taught to overcome a weakness. Tell me a weakness you turned into a strength.
Oh man. Are you sure this is an interview and not a psychological intervention? Okay.
One of my first interviews 40 years ago, guys, the guy goes, "You're psychoanalyzing me." And I goes, "I am. I don't even, but that's funny because I just learned from this guy his wife is psychologist expert. She said, "Do you know that the end of Freud's life, he said, you know what? Jung's right. It isn't the individual. Psychoanalysis shouldn't be on the individual. It should be on the collective. And you should one person on the couch. We should be analyzing all of us as a collective, which is interesting. Yeah, I mean, that one is, people don't realize that is a heavy psych. I mean, so one person said, Ellen, he goes, "I don't have any weaknesses."
Really?
I mean, they were joking, but they didn't want to. But I'll give you an example of my favorite. Iggy Pop said, "My band was so bad at imitating the Rolling Stones, we invented punk rock." So, I mean, you can say past, but it's not a big deal.
No. I just, I think my what has felt like a weakness in moving my career forward, what has felt like a weakness in thwarting my ambition, is not having conviction for this is the way it is.
Yeah.
Because I think that there's no this is the way, this is the one way. So I think that being fluid has led to my strength as an improviser.
Yeah, there you go. That's really good. Yeah, because we're all raised, okay, what are you going to be when you grow up? And then you change careers every 10 years, which is the statistic they say. But you don't have to specialize. And we're raised, everybody in America, you have to specialize. And you don't. You can get away. Look at how you fell into making jewelry. That is so cool. And it's part of your whole world. So why not?
Yeah. Being a generalist, I think that's another thing that people might consider a weakness. Being a generalist rather than a specialist.
Oh, that's it, because I'm a total generalist, and people go, you're too. One of my best critic friends says, "You're all over the place." And I go, "That's what I like to be."
Yeah, good for you. Yeah.
Okay, anger can be a productive emotion when fill in the blank.
When it motivates you.
Beautiful. What's the most significant difference between men and women, physical aside?
I think of men's gesture is this, and women's gesture is this.
Oh, yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you. There's a line that goes, "You create what you resist." Bob Goldthwait, the comedian, morphed it into, "You are what you hate."
Mm-hmm.
James Joyce said, it's a curious thing how your brain is super saturated with the religion in which you say you disbelieve. And Louis Buñuel nailed it. He said, thank God I'm an atheist. So I'm curious your thoughts on that. You create what you resist. And I'm not saying you, Ellen, but one creates what one resists. Any thoughts on that line?
Well, I think that's you create what you resist. It's Let me go about it from another way, because I think you see what you know. So what you're resisting will always be pushing against that.
Yeah.
I think that's how you create what you resist. Because if you're always going with what you know, and if it gets stronger, you would resist. The resistance would be stronger against it. It's like a not a vacuum, but when we play flute, the pressure on our air, we're creating kind of a pressure inside of us. So that's what I kind of think of. If your resistance is creating this pressure around what you see.
Yeah. There's a line that we use for years, cliche, seeing is believing. And just a couple years ago, they go, no, but switch, believing is seeing. It's sort of like what I got from what you were saying is you see what you already know. Actually, Igor Stravinsky said it really well. He says, most people don't know what they like what they know.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you ask a kid, what's your favorite meal? And they'll go, McDonald's. And they're like, you don't like your mom's homemade for cooking? That's way better, but they want to see this. They have reality tunnels on, blinders on.
Yeah.
How do you find peace of mind?
How do I find peace of mind?
Yeah.
Me personally,
Yeah.
sleep.
Yeah. I can dig that. Okay, so 5.
But actually, that was kind of tongue in cheek. No, it's true though. But
That was tongue in cheek.
I if it's I listen to music rather than news.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are 5 quick Alan Watch questions off the top of your head in just a couple words. 1, who started it all?
Oh my God, who started it all? Cavemen.
2, are we going to make it?
Yes,
3, where do we put it?
in our pocket.
4, who's cleaning it up?
Latinas.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry for that. But my neighbor, he's from Cuba, and he keeps such a clean house. And he was the one who said that. He was like, well, us Latinos are good at cleaning. So
We are cleaning, yeah.
it comes from that. Sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry. That was beautiful, especially laughing, because we're here to have fun and people know. 5, is it serious?
No, it's important, but not serious.
Yeah. That again, Frank Zappa says, I'm very serious about being not serious.
Yeah. Did you see that documentary about him?
I did. And I worked for Frank for 10 years, so I'm too close to it. And if it helped people understand him or like him or get a bigger picture, all the power to it. If you ask me the true feelings on it, it's like D- because of certain things. But there's like 10, 20 documentaries on Frank. And you could go to YouTube and type in Frank Zappa interviews, and there's one link that has 10 hours of interviews with him.
Oh, wow.
So he was one of those people who said everything I say in interviews as part of my music. So he was always composing, whether it was with words in an interview or with notes. And like Captain Beefheart says, black ants crawling on white paper.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, he had a sense of humor. Okay, a few more, Ellen, and we're out of here. 15 more minutes. This is fun.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
Can you forget to die?
Can I forget to die?
Yeah.
Well, that's confusing because dying is part of living. So we're going to, I don't think about it, but, or I could get metaphysical and say that each exhale is a little death. So
That's
whatever
a
way you
good
want
that's
to
a
go.
good line. Well, it's funny because people don't know if I'm asking it literally or metaphorically. So
Mm.
you covered it well. Now, this is a Marcel Proust question. On what occasion do you lie?
Oh, I try not to. What, you know, I hate that expression. Do you ask permission or ask forgiveness?
Oh, wow.
Because everybody seems to like to ask forgiveness. So that means that lying is culturally appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ask permission or forgiveness? I really want to look that one up. That's deep.
Oh, you
Wow.
haven't heard that one before?
I haven't. And see, I really think empathy, vulnerability, and forgiveness are all like the keys. But some
Mhm.
people have this thing about forgiveness. It's like, oh no, when you forgive someone, you're acting above them and saying, oh, I forgive you, you know. So, but I think it is important to suss out anything and lay your cards on the table and try to be as honest as possible.
Mhm.
And uh, try to resolve things. It's not always going to happen.
Mm-mm.
Um, Utah Phillips says anarchy is making rules for yourself and not other people. Who's entitled to make the rules?
Hmm. 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 Well, I mean, that's the whole um, issue we're having with our government right now, isn't it? That that one side thinks they should make the rules for everybody, and another side thinks that we should just make the rules uh, uh, for ourselves. Or I think it's kind of switched. I think the Republicans at one point were the just make rules for individual, and now they've gotten this wanting to control other people's decisions and lives. And I don't know. I don't know.
Well, the word freedom, Ellen. Well, firstly, what you said reminded me of Richard Pryor saying, "What do you think of justice?" And he goes, "Just us."
Ah, oh, nice, nice.
But the word freedom etymologically breaks down to exactly what Utah said. Freedom means making one's rules for one's own self. What is freedom? What does freedom mean to you now?
Oh, wow. Freedom to me, personal freedom or political freedom?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. In the context you want, either one, yeah, or
Um,
both.
well, I just came back from Romania from this trip.
Wow.
Yeah, this trip, this group called Journey, Journe. I totally love them. Basically, you tell them what you like and what day you want to leave, and then you don't know where you're going till you get to the airport.
No, wow.
Yeah. So I ended up in Romania, which was pretty cool because it was not even on my radar as a place I would travel to. And, they executed their dictator in 1989. So my guides, I had one guide who lived half his life under communism and one guide who was 8 when the dictator was killed. So we had a lot of talks about political freedom and authoritarianism and all that stuff. And I think I don't want to. I wish we had this negative stuff at the beginning of our conversation, but I think that we have to remember that freedom is a, a bucket of laws to allow everyone to live peacefully within their own objective.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that sounds good. Yeah, and it's what we hope democracy is. And in some ways it is, but in a lot of ways we live in a plutocracy and it isn't. So, I mean, it's something we can always struggle with. And I always say, move the project forward the best we can, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah, same thing like with science. We
yeah,
never have the exact answer. We have some answers that lead us to the next answer.
yeah,
So yeah, same thing. Better, not better, better, not best.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you were walking down the street today and you met yourself as a 12-year-old, what would you say to your 12-year-old self?
Uh, I would say go ahead and try and be a performer and don't worry about making rent. That's what I would say.
Very good. And which way should toilet paper come off the roll?
Oh,
Over or under?
over, over.
Over.
I think
If
they showed that in the original patent.
you think I know it. My friend has a Xerox next to his
Does
toilet.
Okay.
But the funny thing is 80%, 90% say over. 10% say under. And the people who say under have their reasons.
Oh, interesting. An interesting thing about the toilet paper. I had one parakeet that was never locked in his cage. And so he loved to go in the bathroom. And one day he learned how to unroll the toilet paper roll. It took him like 3 days. He hadn't rolled it, and then I rolled it back. It took him 3 days till he got all the toilet paper on the floor. So then the next day I turned it the other way around, and like one day he learned how to get it all on the floor. So then
he did. He did it the other way too. Wow.
I did it the other way in one day. Yeah.
Smart bird. If a publisher was going to release your autobiography off the top of your head, what would the title be?
Unconventional.
They want to scent, the glue, and the binding. What smell?
Lavender.
Oh, I like that. If a statue was built in your honor, where would you want it displayed and what would it be made of?
Oh. It would be made of suet, which is fat and birdseed, and I would put it in Colorado.
How do you spell suet?
I think it's SUET.
Wow, fat and bird seed. That's good. Tell me something good you never had and you never want.
Something good I never had, a Jaguar XKE.
There you go. You know, the answer I get the most, the three are fame, money, and heroin.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
If you were in a vat of vomit up to your neck and someone threw a bag of shit at your face, what would you do?
Jeez. Oh man. Could I'd probably take my hands out of the vomit and wipe away the shit, but then my face would have vomit on it. I don't know. I think you're kind of stuck between a hard place in that one.
This guy who taught me that question, he was an Altacocker. He's hung out on the Venice boardwalk, and you know, he hung out with Billie Holiday and Charles Mingus, and it was sort of like a metaphor for life in a kind of a pessimistic way. And this woman once, I asked her, she says, I would take the velocity of the bag of shit and I would use it to swoop my way out of the vat of vomit.
Oh, nice.
I like that's exactly Edgar. That's Edgar Allan Poe's Descent into the Maelstrom short story, where the guy's, you know, boat's been smushed by the whirlpool waves in the wild ocean, and he studies the broken boat parts and he uses it to save himself rather than being swooped down in the whirlpool and drowned. So it's sort of like that, you know, turning a breakdown into a breakthrough.
That was an Edgar Allan Poe story?
Yeah, it's called Descent into the Maelstrom. It's a short story, yeah. But it's sort of like, how do you turn a breakdown into a breakthrough? Yeah. Or like the Moshe Feldenkrais, how do you turn a weakness into a strength? Yeah. A rejection into a redirection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a nice word, rejection into redirection. I like that.
That's a good one too. So what is the cultural shift you see developing today that inspires you?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't really know. I don't. I'm not so aware of that. I mean, some of the AI um, little fantasy things on my Instagram are amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the AI fantasy reels are just so maybe that's it. The
Yeah.
idea of going into fantasy, allowing ourselves into fantasy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Hmm.
amazing because, most people I found 80% are like freaked out and scared of AI. And I think we should be because the data centers are using up a lot of killing Mother Nature. But at the same time, it's another tool. And how do you integrate? I think the best thing I heard about AI is it's in its early stage and it's our job to raise it well.
Ah, that's yeah, yeah. That's
What,
nice.
what's a question that remains unresolved for you?
Hmm. What's a question that remains unresolved? Um, what note to put next?
Yeah, what note to put next? That's practical.
uh,
I like that because one of my favorite things you said in part one was, I think when I improvise, you
mm,
know, and so many go, don't think. And I'm like, yeah, right. How do you not think? But,
yeah.
because you use the word fluid and get in the flow and you want to transcend that, being too heady when you're doing a heartfelt activity.
Hmm.
Thing is how, it's hard to separate because they're so intertwined.
Well, it's like the expression I've heard: the mind is a good servant, but a terrible master.
Oh, wow. That,
So,
yeah,
so you want to, in my opinion, have that cognitive consciousness paralleling the maybe there you go back to multitasking. Can
yeah.
that conscious mental aspect ride along with your intuitive inspiration?
You reminded me of one of my favorites. Guy said when we were talking about the origins of consciousness, he says, consciousness is a stowaway. You're the boat, and it's a stowaway in your boat, and you don't know that it's stirring your boat. It's got the boat going on its path, but
Mm,
it's stowed away in the bottom of the boat, and you don't even know it's there.
yeah, yeah.
That is like, whoa.
Interesting. I'd like to think that it was more of the what I've heard called the limbic zone is steering my boat.
How do you spell that?
Limbic.
Limbic. The
It's
limbic.
the limbic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not quite subconscious, but as
Yeah.
my understanding of, is kind of between the conscious and
It's
subconscious.
between the two. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, how has two main things? How has art, which means music, composing, improvising, writing plays, how has your Ellen art shaped your behavior? And then how has teaching shaped your behavior?
Oh wow, teaching. I'll start with because that's an easy one. Uh, Teaching has totally led me into all sorts of different psychological, sociological ways of relating to people
Yeah.
because I want to teach someone the way they want to learn, not the way I want to teach.
Yeah.
So I've studied a lot of different philosophies and psychologies because of that. My art has led me. Where's my art led me? Well, my art has led me, I guess, more to improvising than composing, and jewelry more than painting, um, writing more than acting. Um, I guess my art has just taken me down the path of life.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
shaped your behavior completely. I mean, that's what shaped your behavior.
Such an interesting question. I never thought about art shaping my behavior. Um, maybe I think maybe unconsciously it does.
Because you know what's funny
Yeah.
is this friend of mine, he's a writer and 15 books and a musician. I goes, how has writing shaped your behavior and how has playing music shape your behavior? He says, writing has made me antisocial. Music has made me social. Because
Hmm.
antisocial meaning he's sitting in a room all by himself writing.
Right.
Music, you got to be in front of people and play it.
Right. Nah, that I haven't. There's nothing so literal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Thornton Wilder in 1928. Art is confession.
Hmm.
Art is the secret told, but art is not only the desire to tell one's secret, it's the desire to tell it and hide it at the same time.
Hmm.
You've laid your cards on the table for hours. I'm not insinuating you haven't already answered this. What's it really all about for you?
I think that our secrets can help fuel our imagination, but I don't think it's always about desire or secret. I think it's a lot about observation.
Yeah.
And I think the observation and the curiosity for me are what take me down the path. For me, secrets have more to do with past action, where curiosity keeps me in the present and moving forward.
Wow. Live in the moment. My favorite is Wyndham Lewis. Artists live in the moment and write a detailed history of the future.
Oh, interesting. I like that.
Yeah. That
Uh-huh.
is good because you're a good listener. I mean, when I say what's it really all about, you don't have to apply the quote. The quote has this thing about secrets and motives and all that, and confession. But you're a good listener. I appreciate that. So, what gives you the most optimism?
My nephew,
Yeah,
I can see he's 30. My nieces, the young people I teach,
yeah,
yeah, knowing that they will carry on and they'll do a good job.
Ellen, that's amazing because that's the answer I get the most when I say what gives you the most optimism. People go, youth, younger people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's a good feeling because that's what we want people to carry this on. The first question I asked you in part one was, what's the best thing for a human being? And Wilhelm Reich said, the best thing for a human being is another human being.
Mm.
And the last question I asked is what they asked Groucho Marx at the end of his life. What gives you the most optimism? And he said, other people. So it's sure been fun spending this time with another person, especially because it was you. Thank you so much, Ellen.
Thank you, Jerry. I love this conversation. All the best.
Yeah,
Hope to
and
talk to you about that movie now.
I hope you'll write on your calendar June 14th, Beyond Baroque from 6
Okay.
to 9. You just
All right.
walk
Right
in.
now.
You walk into Beyond Baroque and just go up and start playing flute, and you don't have to stay the whole 3 hours, but there will be 3 movie screens going and dancers and poets. And, it's like the Grateful Dead meets P-Funk with the Shags playing all the music.
That sounds like fun. I'll
All
be
right.
there. See you then.
Thanks, Ellen.
Thank you,
I'm
Jerry.
gonna,
Bye bye.
I'm gonna hit the end broadcast button, but I hope this never ends and we keep